So I was in Cairo and I got this free day, and my friend said, come with me, we'll go around Old Town Cairo and I'll show you some bones. And I thought, what could that be? So he took me into this church in Coptic Cairo and showed me the relics of St. George. Now, I thought St. George was to do with England and St. George's Day that we celebrate every year in April. I was quite shocked to find out that George was actually a Roman soldier, that his father was a famous Roman official, and when his father and mother had died, he went to Diocletian, the Roman general, and said, I would like to serve with you. He became a great soldier, but then Diocletian, influenced by other people, said that every soldier must offer sacrifices to our gods. And George said, no, I cannot do that. Diocletian liked George, he wanted to protect him, he liked his father, and so he tried to persuade him, but ultimately George said, I have to stay where I am, I cannot deny my faith. He was beaten, he was tortured, but ultimately, as one of his finest soldiers, Diocletian had George put to death. Why has he become an English saint? Well, in the Crusades, the soldiers came back from the Crusades with all these stories, and perhaps George inspired them. Certainly, it was helpful to have an English saint that didn't come from England. That way people couldn't say, oh, he's from Kent or from Northumbria or whatever, so that helped. But perhaps most, the story of George and the dragon, this story of a woman who's going to be eaten by this dragon, and George goes along and kills the dragon. What do we make of that? Is it true? What we know is that in the Middle Ages, a storybook was written that had this fable in there. And perhaps, just perhaps, this story goes back to an earlier story about George and the crocodile, where there was a crocodile's nest, and sometimes people would be snatched by the crocodiles, and George went along and killed that crocodile. Now, we don't know that. We don't know where the story came from. But we do know that in England, George is seen as a symbol of courage and valour to this day.